Hello and welcome to another episode of Issuer Update. I'm Dimitri Giller, and joining me today is Thomas Lamb, CEO of Myriad Uranium, ticker symbol M on the CSE. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dimitri. Great to be here.
All right, so let's get started. For listeners unfamiliar with Myriad, can you give us a snapshot of what the company is and your approach to uranium exploration?
Myriad is a uranium junior, but we're not just an explorer. We consider ourselves a developer. Canadian listed, we have a ticker in the US, ticker in Frankfurt. We have two main projects, Wyoming and New Mexico. These are fairly advanced projects in that they've both seen considerable development. The Wyoming project, called Copper Mountain, saw a huge investment in the 1970s. It was going to be a large-scale conventional uranium mine. It was going to start production in 1983. The New Mexico project is called Red Basin. It has seen upwards of 1,000 boreholes. It has a historic non-43-101 indicated resource and a larger inferred resource. Both projects are very exciting, and we're in the best states, just as uranium inside the US is becoming critical. So it's an exciting company with big upside.
Right, so your focus is on historical data and existing infrastructure. How does that strategy help accelerate exploration and development timelines?
Well, we think it's an optimal strategy. A lot of uranium juniors, of course, are just out there looking for uranium. You drill some holes, they hit some uranium, they keep going, and then maybe the uranium stops. And where are they? It's a little bit tough for them. They can hit some exciting intervals, but then what happens next? We have large projects with known extensive uranium. Copper Mountain, 2,000 boreholes, 85 million US that's 120 million Canadian in current dollars. This is Union Pacific Railway in partnership with Southern California Edison. They discovered 7 deposits at Copper Mountain. They're all close together. 15 prospects. These are sort of deposits in waiting that need more work. And then they discovered a big halo of uranium around the outside of the project that was going to be advanced. 1982, U.S. Department of Energy assessed that the greater Copper Mountain area could have 655 million pounds of uranium. That would make it one of the largest in North America. So we think that we have an optimal strategy, which is to get these old projects that have seen huge amount of work, known extensive uranium mineralization, and to advance from there. Red Basin, almost 1,000 boreholes, high grade, near surface with quite a bit of vanadium. And so we can go back and we know the uranium is there. We just have to bring it current under 43-101 and then expand our knowledge of the area and, using new technology, make it, more accurate than it could ever have been in the 1970s, just with new technology.
Great. So let's jump into these projects, starting with Copper Mountain in Wyoming.
Yeah.
You recently earned a 75% interest in the project. Can you walk us through what makes this project so compelling?
That's right. So we had a 75% earn-in with our partners, Rush Rare Metals. We've spent the requisite 5.5 million Canadian. So we are now at 75-25. I think, as I've spoken about publicly, there's a good chance we'll move to 100% ownership one way or another in the near future. Copper Mountain is very compelling. Unlike most of the other projects in Wyoming, it would be more conventional mining as opposed to in situ recovery. Of course, in situ is a bit fashionable, but as everybody's noticed with some companies that I think your viewers who know uranium we all know the names. So there's been news just in the last few days. In situ recovery can be tricky, the chemistry, et cetera, in the ground. Copper Mountain, 6 deposits were planned for the initial 1983 production start there. Conventional mining, this is open pit. So this is very easy, very predictable. Whereas in situ recovery, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, as we've seen recently. So 6 deposits, starter mine plan, 15 to 30 million pounds, and then to expand from there. Union Pacific drilled 2,000 boreholes. And they estimated that if you just kept drilling in these peripheral zones around those central deposits I mentioned, you might get to 65 million pounds plus. That was 1979. A few years later, U.S. Department of Energy estimated could be 245 million pounds in a central area, 655 million pounds in a broader area. This huge endowment of uranium in the rock there. So that's some characteristics. Those are not 43101 numbers. Those are uranium endowment numbers. So the amount that you'd actually end up mining is some fraction of that, but it's still a huge uranium deposit. So that's Copper Mountain. It's a wonderful project. We drilled it last year, and we'll be drilling it again soon.
Fantastic. Let's switch to your Red Basin project in New Mexico. Myriad owns 100% of this project. Can you summarize the significance of this acquisition?
We got very lucky. The vendor needed to move on and do something else. Uranium was in a bit of a lull about a year ago. So we scooped it for 525,000 Canadian in cash and stock. And we believe it's worth a significant multiple of that right now. It saw a lot of drilling several decades ago. This is a basin, Red Basin, that the U.S. Geological Survey assesses has maybe upwards of 45 million pounds, being roll front sandstone, easy to access. The grades seem to be quite high. We have publicly talked about grades of 0.17 to 0.31%. This is not current under 43101. We've talked about how our project areas in the basin have all of the known resource. So it's a big basin. There's going to be a lot more uranium there, but we have the known resource. And there's very nice vanadium credits, and vanadium is hot. We seem to have vanadium up to 1.64%. It's a lovely project. New Mexico's coming on, and I think we're going to see some action at our Red Basin project before too long.
Okay, so you mentioned roll front deposits. What makes this type of mineralization attractive from an exploration and potential mining perspective?
So roll front has some advantages. It's very well understood. You don't have to disturb the ground too much. You can pump, a bit like fracking, you can pump acid into the ground. It grabs the uranium, and then you kind of suck it back up, or it gets pushed back up to the surface. So it's environmentally, I don't know if you call it friendlier, because you're pumping acid into the ground. You have to watch out for water tables, etc. However, it doesn't disturb the surface too much. So there are lots of people that's how a lot of the uranium in the world is produced. Kazakhstan produces 43% of the world's uranium, 43%, and this is the process they use, for example. So that's in situ recovery. Conventional mining is also used around the world, but really that's just digging the rock out of the ground. Saskatchewan, Africa.
Okay, so for investors, how should they think about the exploration upside at both of these projects, considering some of these areas were underexplored for decades?
This is very, very interesting stuff. Both projects have big upside. Copper Mountain, again, the starter mine that was going to produce for the California reactors in the 1980s to fuel them, initial 15 to 30 million pounds, but we already know Union assessed upside is likely 65 million pounds plus with more work. Department of Energy assessed huge upside potential, 245 million pounds and 655 million pounds in a broader area. Again, not 43101. That's not all mineable, but it's a huge boost to the known resource. So we get to go from here to that potential with additional work. So there's a big upside at Copper Mountain. Everybody's going to see that, and we're going to be able to fuel the future energy needs of the United States with all that uranium. Same thing at Red Basin in New Mexico. We have the known resources in the basin, but the basin definitely has a lot more uranium, according to U.S. Geological Survey. So we're going to be able to move out and do a lot of interesting work there and gather more uranium. So both projects have big upside. And a lot of known uranium. This is different than Explorer. Considerable work has been done. So we get the best of both worlds. We get known uranium with big upside.
Okay, so let's switch gears to the financing strategy. You recently closed an $8.6 million private placement. How does this capital position Myriad for 2026 exploration and development activities?
So we're in great shape now. I know that we did the financing and there were warrants attached, and it was the end of the year. And I want to just tell everybody we're very aware as management that you could call them warrant strippers or whatever. They sold the underlying share to keep the warrant. That's driven the share price down. We look forward to a robust recovery in the stock. The bright side is we've got lots of cash. And we do not spend it very quickly. When we're not drilling, we don't spend it too fast. So we're very well positioned for 2026. We're going to do considerable drilling at Copper Mountain. We've recently done geophysics at both Red Basin and Copper Mountain. Both of those programs are going to inform the targeting of our drill programs in 2026. So this war chest that we have, and we already had cash in the bank, has got us in a great position. So again, we raised 8.6 million. We already had $1.52 million in the bank. The company is very strong. So we don't have to go out for more money.
So you mentioned a couple of activities. What are your priorities for capital deployment across Copper Mountain and Red Basin?
At Copper Mountain, now that we've done this large-scale geophysics, and we'll be reporting on that, I think, next month with the results of it. The preliminary results are very exciting. All sorts of new information that complement the Spendix or Department of Energy report from 1982, for those of you who follow us closely. It's going to allow us to do some exciting drill targeting. We're going to drill known resources to continue to verify known, and then we're going to step out, and there's some new areas that we think are going to be very uraniferous, and we're excited to drill those too. Red Basin, actually, the geophysics is going to help us with our plan of operations, which is large-scale drill permit that we're applying for right now. First things first, complete that application, get a large-scale drill permit, and then we'll work on drilling after that. That's going to take at least another 6 months.
Okay, so that flows into the next question. Do you anticipate drill programs to commence at either Copper Mountain or Red Basin next year based on the new geophysics?
Absolutely. So especially at Copper Mountain, we have the historical data, our own drill data, geophysics. We will be drilling in 2026. It's winter in Wyoming. We could start drilling maybe within the next few months. It's probably a little better to wait an extra month beyond that, just to make sure that things don't get too cold, and which can cause some problems. So let's see. But certainly in the first half of 2026, we'll be doing some interesting drilling at Copper Mountain. Red Basin, there's other interesting work we can do there, including adding acreage, advancing our understanding in other ways. And then also, we hope to be able to go back down some of the old boreholes. There's a lot of boreholes. They're in great shape. Maybe we can gather quite a bit of very useful information. So it's not quite drilling, but it's going down the old holes. So stay tuned on that. It's very economical, and we get very good information from that.
Okay, last question. Let's zoom out and look ahead into 2026. What are the key milestones that investors should be watching for?
So I mentioned we're likely to go to 100% ownership of Copper Mountain. That's a 1 + 1 = 3 proposition, because 100% ownership is valued a lot more highly than 75% of something. So that's exciting, an exciting likely development. Of course, can't make promises. Drilling, we have very cool drill targets at Copper Mountain. We can't wait to get in there and start drilling them. We do hope to make really good strides towards a U.S. listing for the company, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, et cetera. We're working on that actively. That would be a big boost. We get a lot of U.S. interest. Being listed on the CSE as a primary exchange is not as ideal. We want to continue with the CSE. We love the CSE. It's been excellent, but also being listed in the U.S. on a larger exchange for U.S. investors. So to be able to have both, that's going to be great. And then Red Basin, there are going to be interesting developments. A lot of money is flowing into New Mexico, especially from the technology side. And these people need data, AI. They're going to be working on nuclear technology up and down the fuel cycle. This is conversion, enrichment of uranium. And of course, they'll need to source uranium out of the ground. That could be us.
Fantastic, Thomas. Thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Joining me today was Thomas Lamb, CEO of Myriad Uranium, ticker symbol M on the CSE. Thank you and take care.